What if I told you that the odds, likelihood, and probability of living long and finishing strong was dependent on how emotional your genes get from about the age of 30 on? And depending on your everyday lifestyle, that can range from operating like a straight up machine to, well, this. Good news is, you have the choice not to choose milk on a hot summer day, aka the choice not to modulate your genome in a suboptimal way.
I'm proud of you fellas.
At least, kind of. And we're gonna talk about how. Yo! What is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are aiming to answer the age-old question: what's more important in modulating health and longevity? Genes or lifestyle? And although we have neither the science or technology to provide any real conclusive answer to that, nor will we likely have it for the at least next few hundred years, we will talk about why you may have more control than you previously thought. That got your attention. And to do that, we will first explore why something called genetic expression may be more important than genes themselves. Then review some hot off the press new research digging into our genes' actual role in predicting health and longevity. And finally, as always, talk about how you can take matters into your own hands and actually modulate your genes, making you a straight up puppeteer of your day-to-day mood, feel, cognition, and quite possibly your longevity over time. And hopefully help you avoid the common path of tangling the strings so gosh damn bad in the first and second acts of life, aka midlife, that you're immobile by the golden years finale, which is the sad reality for many. So let's turn that expression and reality around and talk about why it's the expression of our genes that's important. And yes, I know, what a segue. It is estimated that we have around 20,000 protein coding genes, meaning that genes, when turned on, do things. Things like provide the instructions to make the very proteins that allow the human body to function. And for that reason, there aren't too many people arguing against our genes being kind of important for survival. However, the internet battles begin when contemplating just how important our genes are for things like aging, longevity, and overall health span, or living as the healthiest, most functional you for as long as you possibly can. And that, my friends, is where this expression thing seems to be important. You see, we humans actually have a lot of the same genes, with variance between two individuals being somewhere around 0.1%. So overall, we're rather similar, which begs the question, how could there be so much variance in health and aging between those very two same individuals? This brings us to the concept of epigenetics, or the specific expression of our genome across all the different cell types and tissues throughout our body, which may explain why some people are a nervous wreck. You know, because they're just overexpressional at the cellular level. No, it was a joke. Jeez, tough crowd. Insert Ron Burgundy in a glass case of emotion.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
Okay, cool. Moving on. Although all our different cells have the entire genome tightly packed within them, the expression of that genome or series of genes that are turned on is what actually makes that cell that cell. It's what makes liver cells, blood cells, happy cells, and sad cells. Just making sure you're paying attention. But hopefully you get it as well. This level at which genes are expressed determines everything from our hormone levels and metabolism to the mobilization of enzymes which repair the body. So yeah, kind of important. In fact, this expression is so important that cutting edge and still emerging science is hypothesizing that cellular aging may actually be driven by epigenetic dysregulation, meaning the unraveling of specific cell types' genetic expression ultimately leads to the dysfunction of the cell and the dysfunction of the body over time, of course. And we covered this concept in depth in a number of videos, which I will link in the show notes below, ultimately highlighting how we, yes, you and me, have the power to influence genetic expression and prevent dysregulation through our everyday actions. And how our current as well as future health is highly dependent on how the environment we place ourselves in and the lifestyle we live interacts with our inner biology. Whoa, I know. Now, when it comes to our actual genes determining our health over time, the theory goes, a theory called Metawar's hypothesis argues that variation in genetic expression increases as we age because we have passed the evolutionary important young adulthood where our genes need to be more zoned in to ensure survival for reproduction. And once that age is passed, variation becomes kind of a crapshoot. Pretty interesting. But is it true? Let's see if this new data can shed some light. The new study. Researchers out of UC Berkeley sought to see just how much genes really impact the predictability of aging, and if they have a more substantial role than overall age and environment on disease. To do this, they looked into the relative effects of genetics, aging, and environment on how those 20,000 or so protein coding genes are expressed, building a statistical model to assess the relative roles of genetics and aging in 27 different human tissue types across nearly 1,000 individuals. Sounds like a lot of work, because it probably was. So what exactly did they find? Well, first off, they found that the impact of aging varies widely, more than 20-fold among the different tissue types. And that in most tissue, genetics actually matter less the older you get. In other words, while individual genetic makeup can help predict gene expression when people are younger, it is much less useful in predicting what genes are ramped up and ramped down when we are older, indicating that environment may be more important than genetic variation in affecting the expression profiles in many of our genes as we age. You don't say. Now, they did also find some additional interesting things, like a widespread signature of age-associated decline in mitochondria and translation factors, which we know is one of the observed hallmarks of aging and quite important for biological business. They also identified that in 5 of these tissue types, blood, colon, lung, breast, and prostate, evolutionary important genes were expressed at higher levels across older individuals, calling out that these tissue types tend to have frequent cell turnover and also high prevalence of diseases such as cancer, making them hypothesize that this frequent turnover increases the likelihood of cancerous mutations over time, and thus makes these tissues some of the most prevalent for the disease. All in all, these results reinforce that the genes themselves may be less impactful on the odds, likelihood, and probability of disease as we age. And instead, it is the expression of these genes that modulate much of the health or disease. And this expression becomes widely variable once we exit young adulthood, relying heavily on environment and lifestyle. Damn, what a shame. 2 things that we can control. Let's see how. Owning your expression. Express yourself. Bum. Da-na, na, 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 na. Huh? But get to the tips and shut up. Oh, okay. If you couldn't tell by now, epigenetic aging research gets me feeling all those feels. That's because, to date, there have been some very interesting preliminary trials which display the ability of lifestyle factors such as when and what we eat, activity levels, sleep, stress, and nature in modulating the expression of genes across specific tissue type and improving measures of human health span, aka our daily mood, feel, cognition, physical capabilities, and straight up ambiance. Yes, ambiance. The character and atmosphere of a place. Our biological business. It provides objective data which supports the realization that you are in more control than you may believe. That we, humans, are not held victim to our genetics and actually have the power to implement meaningful change and influence our story. Change that not only provides the oh so important aforementioned subjective benefits of improved mood, feel, cognition, energy, and attitude, but also ones that modern science allows us to objectively quantify with cellular and metabolic biomarkers to prove its efficacy. Ones that move to the tune of altered lifestyle habits, high quality circadian aligned sleep, consistently nourishing down on real whole foods, the daily moving of the badonkadonk in an intentional and methodical way, the reduction of environmental and household toxins along with unwarranted pharmaceuticals, nature, grounding, earthing, sunshine, and the oh so important stress management, breathwork, mindfulness, meditation, and gratitude practices. And listen, I know, it's a lot easier said than done. That's why we have specific deep dives on all of these topics, which will be linked below. And if you're looking for a little extra support, you can join the weekly challenges in Patreon, where we as a team implement longevity-focused sustainable change, week by week, habit by habit, focusing on getting healthy from the inside out. If interested, all the links for that will also be in the description below. Above all, I hope this video helped you realize that you do, in fact, have a strong say in your outcome. So bring your health ownership back in-house and start optimizing your pretty cool meat suit and 5-pound mushy membrane like you always could. Because let's be honest, no one wants to find themselves in a glass case of cellular emotion or of a completely tangled string entering the finale of this show called life. It's the unfortunate societal status quo at the moment, and a straight up bad option. Kind of like milk on a hot summer day. You don't want that. So go own it.